And welcome back to Sci Talk. Today we're going to be talking about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 2, The Naked Now.
Wow.
Okay, who would have made this the second episode?
Makes no sense.
For those in the know. The Naked Now is arguably one of the worst episodes in this entire series. So let's get into it. All right, the plot of the episode The Naked Now is that our crew on the Enterprise has been getting strange messages from the USS Tchaikovsky.
Well, hello, Enterprise. Welcome.
And in the messages, it sounds like everyone blows themselves out of a hatch while also being drunk and tripping and crazy. So they head to the site of the ship.
Warp 7.
Yeah, Warp 7. They head to the site of the ship, and they get on the ship and discover that everyone's dead. Even the people who weren't blown out of the hatch, the rest of the people, some had frozen themselves and all kinds of ways they had possibly killed themselves through either maybe incompetence, they just don't know. Geordi gets infected because one of the corpses falls on him. It was in a closet, he opens it up, and it falls on him.
And he catches it.
He doesn't dodge it, whatever. They discover that he's sick because he's obviously sick. He's sweating and he's acting real strange, and he's in sick bay, and Beverly has already tested him and realizing that something's not right. And she goes to figure it out, but he sneaks away somehow, which we're going to talk about that later. But he sneaks away and begins to infect Wesley Crusher and all kinds of people on the ship. Tasha.
He spread the disease around the ship. Whatever it is, he spreads it around the ship.
Yeah, he begins to infect all kinds of people, and it becomes an epidemic on the ship. Meanwhile, the USS Tchaikovsky was studying a dying star. So everyone's parked next to this dying star that's going to go supernova. It's going to go supernova. And, this wouldn't be a problem, but it turns out because of the disease spreading, everyone gets dumb, and they start taking the chips and messing up the ship's computer, and they can't drive away. So now they're all about to die unless someone solves the problem. In the end, Beverly and Data and Wesley pretty much solve the problem and save the day. And that's about it.
Roll credits.
Oh, this is based off a much better episode from the original Star Trek. Yeah, let's get into how we feel about it.
Well, obviously this is not a good episode, and we did not like the premise, we didn't like the writing, we didn't like the way it was directed. I mean, it was just bad. It was one of those episodes that's like, why? When they all come back, they, like he was saying in the intro, Geordi got infected by catching one of the corpses that fell out of a closet, right? So they looking around, they can't see any evidence of anything going wrong on the ship except everybody is dead. So they come back and they go through the biofilters, transported biofilters, and as an extra precaution, Beverly takes the whole away team to sick bay and examines all of them to make sure that they're okay, that they don't have nothing.
Sounds like a reasonable thing to do.
Everybody passed the test, including Geordi.
So what I want to get into is, because we're about to get to the point where I have to talk about
where it goes
all
downhill.
The incompetent decisions, besides the tone and the writing and all that stuff, the decisions made. So I'm going to have the incompetence counter. Let's get incompetent decision number 1.
Ding.
When Beverly discovers that Geordi is obviously sick, she didn't decide to confine him to sick bay or to start a quarantine situation where we all separate from Geordi for her to do her science.
She casually asked Geordi to stay.
So she didn't start a quarantine, and apparently sick bay, she was the only one on duty that day to where he could just walk out and no one had a clue. So of course, guess what he does? He infects people. Second incompetent decision is she left Geordi unrestrained and unattended.
So that's
now,
two
back to our story. They're looking for him. Everyone's looking for Geordi.
Tasha finds Geordi. Right now, they said that there's something wrong with Geordi. We need him back in sick bay. Right? The only thing they've done is go over to this other ship where everybody dies. Why would Tasha approach Geordi and began to touch him.
So that's number 3 on the incompetence counter, is that Tasha, when finding Geordi, darn near embraced him. Didn't have a conversation from far away. She instead went up into his face and then allowed him to touch all over her. Because right after they find Geordi and Tasha embraces him, they take him back to sickbay, and what do? That's for number 4 on my incompetence counter. They have a meeting in sickbay over
Go ahead.
Geordi,
the sick dude.
So they're like, okay, we have a disease situation. We realize it's spreading. We realize that it's causing people to act strangely, almost like the people on the USS Tchaikovsky. And they decide, so let's get together. Let's have some of the senior staff come together and talk about it and figure it out over Geordi, who's laying there like, it's ridiculous. This whole episode is ridiculous.
The whole episode is ridiculous.
Okay.
We can go on and on with the whys and the incompetence meter.
And I guess we have to mention it, the silliest stuff. Most of them are acting either childlike stupid or some are hypersexual, like Tasha or some of the other people she was running into or whatever.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and mention it. You know, Geordi infected Tasha. And so Tasha is running around the ship in a ultra sexual manner.
This is the infamous scene where Tasha pretty much jumps Data's bones.
Data get him with some. Data.
She forces Data to, have some fun.
Well, it wasn't that
her.
much force because Data was smiling and willing.
Okay, so another thing on the incompetence meter, I'd say this is number 5. Picard had a chance to steer the ship away from the dying star before any of the computer was messed up, before Wesley had taken it over. Picard had a chance to steer it away. They were sitting next to the star. They realized Geordi was sick and it was beginning to be a contagion or an epidemic or whatever on the ship. So at that moment, he should have thought, all right, we'll come back. We'll pilot to a safe distance, handle this situation that's very serious going on the ship.
The few points I want to talk about is Captain and Beverly have their hot time. I'm not going to go into it, but they have their little Captain even do this. What was that? Anyway.
Knock down, doctor. Please.
As well as I wanted to specifically mention the fact that Tasha on her tirade with Data somehow infected him, and that's going to lead me to number 6 on the incompetence counter. For it's not really a decision they made, it's the writers, but it's so stupid that I can't let it go. How is Data getting infected with this, as Beverly described it, intoxicating thing? She couldn't even call it a disease, but whatever. It infected them, made them act like they act, and it infects the robot too. And he even tries to plead a case like, if you cut me, do I bleed? No, you don't bleed. In future episodes,
they take his whole arm off, take his head off.
He's had his head.
I know.
Wesley takes over the ship and is tripping, but starts going like, Picard, just ask me. I'll do whatever you want. I'll fly us away. I'll save the day. And Picard just won't ask him to do it.
Incompetence meter.
He won't just order him to do it. So I guess since he's supposed to be a good negotiator and all that type of stuff, I'm going to put this in an incompetence meter for number 7. Is Picard, you had a chance to just order Wesley quickly to do what you needed him to do, and you didn't take the chance, and they get away just in the nick of time, thanks to Wesley buying them time with his tractor beam.
Which he hadn't got the antidote yet. The other ones had been starting to get the antidote.
So even while
he was intoxicated,
he still saved the day. Which, come on.
That's the only light in this episode, because I like Wesley.
I'm all for it, but guess what? Them engineers, we never saw them again. Want to know why? Because Wesley put him to shame. Should
have made him an engineer right then, but...
So overall, bad episode. Just like when Picard and Beverly are having their hot moments and their
Picard
funny,
is
his little hip skip, and all this other stuff.
Beverly. Jean-Luc.
So even Data being, When he gets off the elevator, he stands after. He's so like, yeah, I just got me some.
Yeah, it's like
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious
in retrospect, but it's a terrible episode.
It's a terrible episode.
So if you don't have to watch it, don't. But if you want to have fun, watch it in that.
Have fun seeing how goofy it was. And so that brings us to the conclusion of this episode of Side Talk, where we talked about the naked noun.
The naked not so much. The naked no. The not. Don't watch this.
Bad episode. Terrible episode.
This is the second episode. What on earth were they thinking? Terrible.
It's terrible.
Terrible.
Terrible what they did to
All
him.
right, well, we got to get back on shift. I think Jordy's looking for us. So, yeah, we can't do this all day. All right.
That brings us to the end of this episode.
O'Brien.
Please like, share, and subscribe. And please, in the comments, tell us what you think about this episode. Let's have a laugh together.
Exactly. Do you think Data should have got
Or you
infected?
think we're full of crap and it's the greatest episode ever?
Do you like Tasha's character? If you do, interesting. But please tell us in the comments whatever you feel.
We would love to hear
And
from
look
you.
forward to our next episode. Peace, guys.
And now,
live long and prosper.
And now, okay, we're not gonna do that one again. We're not being beamed up.
All right, wait.
They sending a shuttle for us, so.
Wait, I think I hear something. It's the Borg.